The Arizona State Fair got their money's worth in wild rides. Kalen Mowry threw down a winning run in racing, finally getting Jailbird in the winner's circle, while Eckert took Freestyle Championship number 3 with an insane performance. Tonight may be different than we expected in preseason, but we're here and we're throwing down. This is the Rigs of Rod Semi-Realistic Points Series, and this is Monster Jam! Hello everybody and welcome back to the Rorsrps channel. My name is Preston Vieira and we're coming to you live on the Indy Madness tour in Truckton, Colorado, about to jump into a massive over-under style racing layout. Originally we all expected Snow Jam to fill this spot, but with the snow melted we found something a little more possible and a bit more fitting with Indy Jam. Let's take a look at tonight's racing bracket and check out our round 1 matchup, starting with Kalen Mowry in Jailbird taking on her father Darren Migues in Wolf's Head. Then it's Eckert in Fullboar taking on Chuckie Pauken in Excaliber. Jim Koehler is going to take on Colt Durham, Megabyte versus playing Krazy, Then it's Amsoil Shock Therapy, Pecka taking on Corey Fisher in Blacksmith. Megalodon Fire, Giovanna is going to take on Dan Dogren in Iron Outlaw. Then it's Matthew Hood in Rage taking on Dawson Rayas in Shake Me. Then it's Jack Merkle taking on George 20D10 in Chillin Villain. Vorian Prime going head-to-head there. Then it's Shelley Kujat in our substitute spot for the week with Camino taking on Bobby Holman in Shadow the Hedgehog. This is a massive track, massive floor, a lot of turns that can get these drivers into some trouble. So this is definitely going to be a fun night of racing and a long night of racing. Freestyle has been pushed back a little bit just due to the length of this course. But here comes our first opponents out onto the track. Darren Migues in Wolf's Head. Coming out on your left, he's going to be taking on Kalen Mowry in Jailbird. These two have yet to face off at this capacity so far this season. Darren Migues, of course, was subbed out for 3 shows. He just came back for the second time this season, last show in Arizona. He's making some good ground, but he is still at the back of the pack. I'm talking last place in terms of points for the season so far. He's definitely looking to do well here in racing, and especially later on in freestyle, because if you take a racing win, you get 16 points, whereas if you take a freestyle win, granted, if you only get one of the two, freestyle is worth 20 points. If you get the double down, the coveted double down, you get an extra 5 bonus points on top of that, so you end up with a total of 41 for both of those wins. But we're already getting close to lining up here. These guys are checking out the starting line here, doing their dry hops, getting things ready to go, trying to clear the starting line of any debris so they can get a nice, clean, quick start to this track. But the start isn't where you're going to have problems. A lot of this track has some turns, and that is where you're going to have to get yourself together if you want to come out on top. But our first race is staged, ready to go. We're green and heading down the track for the first time tonight. Wolf's Head, Darren Migues is going to take on this long straightaway before a switchback, and he's going to be the first one to take on that over section. It is a pretty easy over section here, having to jump across the lane. Massive hills here. Look at that. Nice and clean. Beautiful from Darren Migues. Kalen Mowry's going to have to come out and do the same. Can she do it as clean as Darren is the question. And can she hold potentially the lead that she has here right now? Heading around the semi-final turn for these two drivers. Beautiful drift from Kalen Mowry. Darren Migues in trouble in that semi-final turn. Flipping the car gets him a little bit upset, and that is not what you want to do, especially if you're trying to take a win. And a big bobble in the final turn as well from Darren Migues. Jailbird keeping it clean here. It's still pretty close though. Kalen Mowry in Jailbird headed to the line first. She is on to round 2 tonight. Darren Migues just not enough. Couldn't keep that truck under control. Couldn't get these turns right. Coming up short in the semifinal and final turns for Darren Migues. But next out on the track, it's Eckert in Fullboar. Coming out on your right, he's going to be taking on Chuckie Pauken in Excaliber. Chuckie is a solid driver overall. Has yet to take a win in both racing and freestyle in this season. Last season, he came out as a sub, killed it in the one show that he was a part of, but was unable to get a win as well. This season, he's only made it up into the semifinals in racing once. Fullboar, on the other hand, has made it up into the final round, has made it up into the final round once before, but was unable to get the win from DD Live. That was DD Live's first championship of the season. We'll see how they do here in round one, facing off head-to-head. We're green and launching down the track. A lot of air from Chuckie Pauken there over the cars. That right lane, you really do have to slow down there. You can't air it out quite as much, not only because if you're racing, you have a turn coming up, but you got that car right in front of you that is going to give you some problems if you're not careful. Fullboar with a beautiful drift around that outside turn. Same for Chuckie Pauken, though, on the inside. Great turn there, a little slow, but an awesome drift, and these fans love to see these trucks slipping and sliding around the track. As long as they can keep it controlled and keep a nice, clean race, it's a lot of fun watching these trucks slide around. Look at that, Chuckie Pauken a little all over the place on the left side there, barely making it onto those little launch ramps, I guess you could say, in the straightaway there. And it looks like it's going to be Fullboar headed to the line first, absolutely. And Eckert is on to round two tonight. Can he be the one to make it up into the Dubby final round tonight here in Truckton, Colorado is the question. On a lot of people's minds, for sure. I mean, we got some great racers on this tour. We'll see what happens as the night goes on. Koehler in Megabyte coming out on your right. He'll be taking on Colt Durham in Plain Krazy. Colt ended up getting subbed out after Elmont, Texas, was the points loser in Elmont, Texas, has yet to make it past round two of racing. Koehler in Megabyte is now, thanks to Elmont, Texas, a one-time racing champion. He wants to make it two tonight. He wants to reclaim, I keep talking about it every show that we see him, he wants to reclaim that glory of last season. If you don't know, last season he was the tour champion on the Custom Chaos Tour and also the freestyle champion at the World Finals. So far this season, he only has one win under his belt. We are now past the halfway point of the season. We'll see if he can lock in for these last few shows as we launch off the starting line for Colt Durham and Koehler. Colt just pretty much fresh off of his World Finals for the ROR SCS Tour that he runs and operates. It is an absolutely great show. Had some great encores, including a Deadpool versus Wolverine encore. That was pretty sick. That was awesome, man. Great idea. And we'll see how he does as he is big slide through that switchback as we head into the second lap here of this race. Getting into the switchback for Koehler. Big slide from Colt Durham, clipping the car as well, similar to what we saw Darren Migues do in Wolf's Head. We'll see if he can keep it together and if he has a shot at the finish line here at the gold. We come down the track. Who's going to take it to the line? It's going to be Koehler in Megabyte, headed into round two tonight. What a race between these two. It was actually pretty close. If there was no mistake in that semifinal turn from Colt Durham, I think we might have had a tiebreaker on our hands. Potentially, I mean, not really a tiebreaker, but a really close race. It was already very close. Pecka in Amsoil Shock Therapy coming out on your right. He's going to be taking on Corey Fisher in Blacksmith on your left. Corey Fisher in this Blacksmith truck has yet to make it out of round one so far this season. Last show in Arizona, he ended up rolling in the first turn of the racing competition for him and didn't go well. He ended up taking the loss. Vorian Prime, I believe, was his opponent, and he ended up making it up into the Dubby final round to take a loss to Caitlin Mowry and Jailbird. Pecka in Amsoil Shock Therapy, on the other hand, was the first overall champion on this tour this season. Show 1, Cameron, Texas. He came out second in racing and second in freestyle. We'll see if he can come out in first tonight in racing as we launch down the straightaway for the first time for these two. Heading into our first turn of the race, Corey Fisher trying to get that truck tucked into the turn. It wouldn't quite listen to him at first. We'll see if he can get this truck under control at some point throughout this race, and if he can do it fast enough to knock out Pecka in Amsoil Shock Therapy. Pecka is the first one to the line, but we still have a whole half a race to go here as we come around our semi-final turn. Nicely done from both drivers. Corey Fisher just making it onto those launch pads. We'll see if he can get it down to the line first. He is the first one into that final turn, and it looks like he's going to hold the lead. Corey Fisher in Blacksmith makes it to round 2 for the first time this season, knocking out the first overall champion of the season as well. Corey Fisher getting it done tonight in Truckton, Colorado. We'll see if he can keep it rolling for the rest of the night. He had a great performance in freestyle in Arizona. I'd love to see him have a great performance in racing here in Truckton, Colorado. Dan Dahlgren in Iron Outlaw coming out on your left. It's Giovanna Hayes in Megalodon Fire on your right. Giovanna Hayes, 1 racing championship under her belt this season, 1 world racing championship, to Megalodon Fire's name from last season. We'll see if she can do it again tonight. As far as this season goes, get another Dubby Racing Championship under her belt. Starting here with Dan Dahlgren in Iron Outlaw, another driver who has yet to make it out of round 1 so far this season. We'll see if he can do it tonight for 2 Extreme. Finally get these guys back up to the Dubby final round, launching down the straightaway for the first time for these two, who will take it to the finish line. Great turn from Giovanna Hayes, avoiding that car. You love to see it. Dan Dahlgren, a great turn as well. A little bit of a slide on the exit, but hey, he's making it. We still got a long race to go and a lot of opportunity for Giovanna Hayes to make a potential mistake. Look at that 90 from Dan Dahlgren. We don't see a lot of those on this tour or on this series, but Dan Dahlgren bringing it out in full force tonight. If you can sling it, you might as well. Beautiful turn from both of these drivers. Giovanna Hayes, beautiful landing, all power down that semifinal straightaway. Great drift from Dan Dahlgren. This is actually going to be pretty close as we head to the line, but not close enough. Giovanna Hayes in Megalodon Fire is on to round 2, 1 step closer to another Dubby final round appearance. Once again, knocking out Dan Dahlgren here in round 1. Just not getting that truck together so far this season. Next out on the track is Matthew Hood in Rage coming out on your right, taking on Dawson Rayas in Shake Me. Dawson celebrating 5 years of competition with the Shake Me name, has been burning it down at every show he has been a part of since, and I am so happy to have him on the tour this season. He's been killing it, and he is currently 3rd in the rankings right now in the point standings. He's been killing it, man. I'm having a great time watching him throw down every 3rd week. And Matthew Hood, on the other hand, for Team Scream, not doing too well in that Rage truck. I'd love to see him get up into round 2. Same for Dawson Rayas, though. It could go either way as we launch off of the starting line and down the track for the first time for these two. Big leaps from both drivers, even from Matthew Hood. Heading around our first turn, nicely done from Matthew Hood in Rage. Quick through that first turn. He may have a win on his hands as Dawson Rayas is in trouble. Dawson definitely not known as a racer on this tour. Definitely more known as a freestyler. Kills it in the freestyle competition, but has really been struggling so far this season. Has made it up into the semifinals once, but aside from that, struggling to get out of round 1. Coming down that semi-final straight and into the final turn, it looks like Matthew Hood in Rage may have a round 2 spot on his hands. And yes, he does. Dawson Rayas out super wide through that final turn. And Matthew Hood is going over. Does get across the line first. He's into round 2, but goes for a little ride after the finish line there. Hopefully getting that truck in one piece and at 100% is quick work in the pits, because round 2 is coming up fast, and I'm excited for what's to come. Chillin Villain George 20D10 coming out next onto the track. A big leap to announce his presence to these fans. He's going to be on your left, taking on Jack Merkle in Vorian Prime, who's also going to announce his presence with the leap. Says, don't forget about me. I'm coming, and I am a runner-up to last show's racing competition. So we'll see if he can get up into the final round again tonight and finally grab that racing championship. Jack Merkle in Vorian Prime has been in the semifinals almost every show, and last show he was in the Dubby final round, just took a loss to Caelan Mowry in Jailbird. George 20D10, on the other hand, has been struggling to make it out of round one, has yet to do so this season. I would love to see him make it happen tonight. He's a good dude. He's really hoping to get things starting to work for him a little bit. Just hasn't happened for him so far this season. We'll see how it goes here in Truckton, Colorado. Vorian Prime out wide in that first turn, but a nice easy drift, keeping that truck in control. That's the main thing. You don't want that truck to be out of control. You don't want to be sliding too much to where you can't gather it back up. Then you got a lot of wasted time on your hands, and you are most likely done here in round one. George 20D10 putting up a fight, though. We'll see if he can make it back to the line and how close it will be between the two drivers. Great semifinal turn from both of them. George 20D10 extending it a little farther than I would have liked to see him do on the exit, but we'll see how he does here around that final turn. A great drift from George 20D10 again, slipping and sliding just a little too much. It's gonna be Jack Merkle in Vorian Prime, heading to round two once again, looking for that semifinal spot once again. Can he do it? We will find out when we get to the end of round two. Next out on the track, our substitute for the week, Shelley Kujat in Shell Camino. Announcing her presence with a nice leap there. Bobby Holman coming out on your left. Shadow the Hedgehog also going to announce his presence with a nice little leap there. This is definitely going to be an exciting race. It's always an exciting race when you get a new sub. Just last week, the last show that we had on the channel, VP Mad Scientist knocked out Dragon. That's Leo O'Donnell knocking out one of our most consistent racers on the Biggest and Baddest Tour, Alfredo Moya, in that Dragon truck. And that was Leo O'Donnell's debut appearance as a substitute. He was unable to get a second show, but still killed it in racing nonetheless, taking out one of the heavy hitter drivers in the racing competition. We'll see how Shelley does against Bobby Holman, who hasn't been doing the best in racing, has yet to make it past round two, but has made it into round two once before. We'll see how it does tonight as we come around our first turn. A great turn from Shelley, but she is a little all over the place over the jumps. Big nose, launching that nose towards the ground there off of the over from Shadow the Hedgehog. Bobby Holman. Shelley getting a little squirrely down the final straight there. We'll see how they do in the semi-final turn. Looks like Bobby Holman is having a little bit of truck issues there. I don't know if he was just a little sloppy on the brakes or what, but doesn't look to have it quite put together like Shelley does as we come into our final turn. Shell Camino in the lead. This could be a close one as we come to the line. It is pretty close. Shelley Kujat in Shell Camino, though, is going to be taking the win here in round one. Getting a little save there. Clipping the car. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You can't launch it quite like you can in the red lane. But if you guys are enjoying tonight's competition, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because we got new shows every Saturday, and you do not want to miss the rest of the season or the ROR SRPS Season 2 World Finals. Be sure to stick around. Also, check out the Instagram for ROR SRPS content, including early access to the week's racing bracket, pit party pictures, and more. And also check out the ROR SRPS store down in the description below. Got all kinds of products over there, and they're updated weekly. Jailbird is going to be kicking off round two, though, taking on Ed Eckert in Fullboar. Then it's Jim Koehler in Megabyte taking on Corey Fisher in Blacksmith. Giovanna Hayes in Megalodon Fire is going to take on Matthew Hood in Rage. Then it's Jack Merkle in Vorian Prime taking on Shelley Kujat in Shell Camino. Caelan Mowry coming out next on your right in Jailbird. She's going to be taking on Ed Eckert in Fullboar. These are the two champions from Arizona. Jailbird in racing, Ed Eckert in freestyle. Who can take it to the line here in racing tonight? Instincts are telling me Caelan Mowry, but anything can happen on this track, and Ed Eckert is definitely no slouch in racing. He's made it up into, like I said, the final round once before on this tour. he could do it again. Every show is a new show. As we launch off the starting line, we'll see who can do it here in just a minute. Entering into our first turn for Kalen Mowry, hiking up a little bit. Could have got into some trouble there. You really got to take a second, let the truck settle down before you enter into that turn, or else you're at risk, man. And hey, there's no real big reward without a big risk. You could get it, but you just got to be careful, man. Calculated risk is the best way to go about it. Big leap, nosing that truck down towards the ground from Kalen Mowry in Jailbird. Eckert with a beautiful semi-final turn. We'll see how they do here. Kalen's in trouble with a sloppy jump. She is all over the place. Oh my goodness. Oh, she does get a save, but it's going to be Eckert in Fullboar heading into the semifinals tonight. Kalen Mowry gets the save, is going to get this truck across the finish line, so no DNF, but that definitely hurts as far as her racing points for tonight's show. Hopefully she can throw down a great run in freestyle and keep things above 4 points total. Jim Koehler in Megabyte coming out on your right. He's going to be taking on Corey Fisher in Blacksmith in his first round 2 appearance of the season. Corey Fisher, this is uncharted territory for him. And the thing about uncharted territory is you never know how it's going to go. Of course, throughout the season, he's been struggling with every opponent that he's faced, getting out of round 1, but he's here in round 2. He wants to throw down. He's ready to throw down. Can he do it tonight? Taking out a one-time racing champion on this tour. Launching off the starting line, we will find out as we head over the cars for the first time. Big slap wheelie from Corey Fisher. Not really what you want to do, but nothing but straight away ahead of him. He can let that thing ride out as long as it needs to. Hopefully, as long as he can set it down before the turn. Jim Koehler already sliding through that final turn of this lap. Beautifully done as well. Corey Fisher with a really rough turn there. Not too bad as far as the turn itself, as far as getting the angles, but a big slide. Really struggling to get the power down and get riding down the straightaway. We'll see if he can make it to the line before Jim Koehler, but I don't know. Jim whipping that truck around. Look at that. He's right back on the power. It's actually pretty close here as we come to the line. The officials are calling Jim Koehler in Megabyte. Wow. What a race there by a tire tread. I believe Jim Koehler even came back from a little bit of falling behind there. Matthew Hood in Rage going to come out next, trying to keep things rolling for Team Scream. But on the right side of your screen, same could be said for Giovanna Hayes in Megalodon Fire. Another Team Scream truck, another Team Scream driver trying to get this Team Scream win tonight here in Truckton, Colorado. Who can get it between the two? I don't know. Again, this is kind of uncharted territory for one of these drivers. Matthew Hood in Rage has only made it up into the semifinals once. Giovanna Hayes, a championship under her belt and some great racing throughout the season. We'll see how she does here tonight in round 2 as we come around our first turn. Nothing but power from Giovanna Hayes. Nice leap from Matthew Hood in Rage. Look at the drift from Giovanna, man. She is throwing that truck around that wide sweeping turn in her lap 1, excuse me. And as we come to this first turn, the semi-final turn of the race, it's looking like Giovanna Hayes may have a little bit of a lead. See if she can hold it, if she even has one by the end of the race. Matthew Hood with a nice clean drift. Those Team Scream drivers really sliding these trucks around tonight. Matthew Hood sloppy, clips the car. He's going over again. It is Giovanna Hayes in Megalodon Fire, taking the win here in round 2. Matthew Hood in Rage somehow ends up back on all 4 BKTs, but he is done here in round 2. Just getting a little too squirrely, not getting that truck in control over that roller. Put him out, got him into trouble. Shelley, Kujat, and Shell Camino coming out next on your left. She's going to be taking on Jack Merkle in Vorian Prime. We've talked about it many times on this channel so far this season. Jack Merkle, an incredible racer on a lot of the online tours that he has been in. Really kills it, has been killing it consistently on the ROR SCS championship series. So we'll see how it goes here tonight in Truckton, Colorado, as Jack Merkle once again bringing out his own equipment, his custom truck, and we'll see if that'll help him against Shelley Kujat in that Shell Camino truck. Launching down the track. Does look like Shelley may have a little bit of a lead over the line there, but like I said before, you got to consider Jack Merkle does have to get that truck slowed down for that turn, so he may have let off the gas there just to get that truck, make sure that he gets that truck settled down before the turn. Beautiful drift from Jack Merkle in Vorian Prime. Not too bad from Shelley Kujat herself either. Heading back for the second lap of this race. Looking good. This is a solid race between these two so far. We may have another close one on our hands. Let's watch and see what happens. Already into that final turn for Shelley Kujat. Look at the drift. Beautifully done. A little squirrely here. Nearly clipping the car, and that is going to slow her down enough to let Jack Merkle in Vorian Prime grab the win. Jack Merkle's going down now. And another somehow type save. Jack Merkle, what a save there. And what a win. Coming back thanks to Shelley Kujat's little bit of squirreliness coming out of that final turn. Fullboar is going to be taking on Megabyte in the semifinals. Then we're going to see Megalodon Fire take on Vorian Prime to close it out. This is definitely an exciting night. And look at this. We got two Team Scream trucks, excuse me, in the semifinals here. Eckert in Fullboar coming out on your right, and Team Scream truck number 1, Megabyte, Jim Koehler hitting the track on your left. Looking for another Dubby Racing Championship. He's here in the semifinals. Last time we saw him in the semifinals, he burned it down, man. Got himself a championship. Can he do it tonight? Eckert in Fullboar. Last time we saw him in the semifinals, he got himself into the Dubby final round, but was unable to get himself a championship. Can he do it tonight by knocking out Jim Koehler in Megabyte? Let's see as we launch off of the starting line, because we are green. Semifinals well underway here as we enter into our first turn. Looking good for Eckert. I'm curious if he can keep it off the cars, unlike what we've seen from a few trucks so far tonight. Not only clipping it in the first turn or coming out of the semifinal turn, whatever, but, oh, Jim Koehler clipping a car here. It can happen anywhere on this track. Anywhere that there is a car, you can be squirrely enough to tag it. Obviously, that is not what you want to do. And between the two, Eckert is having the better shot at this run, keeping it clean, not touching the cars. Around this final turn, Jim Koehler may have a lead here. He does, and he is going to hold it to the line. Look at this, Jim Koehler in Megabyte, moving on to the Dubby final round once again. Here in Truckton, Colorado, having another shot at a second Dubby Racing Championship. Can he get it? He's hyped, he is ready to go, and there's a chance that he'll be facing off against a Team Scream teammate of his. Giovanna Hayes in Megalodon Fire coming out on your right. She'll be taking on Jack Merkle in Vorian Prime. These two are incredible racers. So far this season, Megalodon Fire has made it up to the semifinals twice. One of those ended up in a championship. Vorian Prime has made it up into the semifinals 2 times so far, 4 times. One of those resulting in a Dubby final round placement where he lost to Kalen Mowry in Jailbird. Let's see what happens tonight as these two get ready to go for the final race of the semifinal stage. Ready to go. We are green. Heading over the roller. Big leap from Vorian Prime there. Jack Merkle definitely could have got in trouble there. Got to be careful how you hit that car stack. Ramps can kick you over. We saw that from Jailbird earlier. Now we're seeing that from Jack Merkle in Vorian Prime. That could get you into trouble to a spot where you do not complete the race. Got to be careful how you take those jumps. Big leap from Giovanna Hayes in Megalodon Fire. Keeping up with Jack Merkle. And Jack Merkle keeping up with Giovanna Hayes too. You can't forget she is a one-time World Finals racing champion. Has that under her belt from season 1. So as we come to the line, it is anybody's race. Giovanna a little slow, but can hold on to it. Megalodon Fire is facing off against her teammate, Megabyte, in the Dubby final round. Let's get a look at the bracket for the final round. This is exciting, man. Dubby energy has fueled the final round, and tonight's Dubby final round is Megabyte versus Megalodon Fire. The Megas going head-to-head here in the Dubby final round, and here they are. Team Scream, Jim Koehler in Megabyte on your right. Giovanna Hayes in Megalodon Fire on your left. This is an incredible night of racing, of course, all fueled by Dubby Energy, and you guys should definitely check out Dubby Energy. And if you do, you can get 10% off using code RORSRPS at checkout. They have some good, clean, jitterless energy that provides some focus and some much needed hype when you need it. They market mostly to gamers, but Dubby is great for any time you need some energy and some focus. That coffee fruit extract really kicks in and adds a nice focus aspect to your energy consumption. I love them, man. They have some great flavors. Calio Cream is one that I've tried recently. Nice creamy flavor followed by a mango punch with a little twist of some orange in there, and it is delicious, as well as Beach and Peach, which is mango white peach, and that is absolutely delicious. That is my favorite flavor from them. Definitely check them out. They have some great flavors, as well as some caffeine-free hydration blends on their website as well. Check them out, guys. Dubby, the official channel partner of RORSRPS. And as we get ready for the Dubby final round, we are green. Team Scream versus Team Scream. Megabyte versus Megalodon. Into our first turn for Jim Koehler in Megabyte, slinging that thing around. Same could be said for Giovanna Hayes in Megalodon Fire. I'm very curious how this is gonna go. Both of these drivers, one-time champions on this tour. Jim Koehler's in trouble, clipping the pod coming out of the turn. Oh my goodness, does that slow him down enough? It looks like he has a lead because he's the first one to cross the line, but these are uneven laps until you get a turn on both sides. So we'll see what happens as we come to the finish line. Big leap from Jim Koehler in Megabyte. Looks like Giovanna Hayes may have a bit of a lead here. Coming around the final turn, she does, and she is gonna hold it. Giovanna Hayes grabs Racing Championship number 2 for Season 2. Megalodon Fire does it again here in Truckton, Colorado, keeping things going for Giovanna Hayes and almost pretty much ensuring her spot in the World Finals. We'll see how the rest of the season goes, but I mean, 2 championships under your belt is a big boost to your points. So that is awesome. What a night for Giovanna Hayes here in racing. She's gonna celebrate with a little bit of freestyling, give everybody a preview of what's to come here in the freestyle competition. If you don't know, freestyle is coming up very, very soon. Just click on the link in the end card at the end of the video, and I will see you guys over there. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We have a massive floor here. We even got a mobile home there that these drivers are gonna mow down. So we'll see what happens throughout the rest of the night. Giovanna Hayes gonna take on the motorhome, or mobile home, excuse me. Oh, she's gonna park it. Giovanna Hayes, Megalodon Fire does it again. One more time for her as she parks it up on top of that mobile home, giving these fans one last look at that Megalodon Fire truck before she tears it up in the freestyle competition. Let's take a look at tonight's points awarded for the racing competition. First up, taking the top spot, or holding on to the top spot, I should say, it's Ed Eckert in Fullboar with 111 points. Vorian Prime, Jack Merkle with 96. Shake Me, Dawson Rayas 93. And Megabyte, Jim Koehler ends up with 92. Megalodon right behind him with 89. Jailbird, 71. Amsoil Shock Therapy ends up with 65. Excaliber, Chuckie Pauken closes things out with 57. Then it's Bobby Holman, Shadow the Hedgehog with 55. Matthew Hood in Rage with 53. Corey Fisher in Blacksmith with 52. And Dan Dahlgren in Iron Outlaw with 36. Cole Durham in Plain Krazy ends up with 33. George 20D10 in Chillin Villain with 30. Darren Migues in Wolf's Head ends up with 19. And Shelley Kujat in Shell Camino ends up with 4. Heading into the freestyle competition. Not a bad start. Remember, this is our first show. But if you guys enjoyed tonight's racing competition, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Let me know with a like and a comment down below. Stick around. We got new shows every Saturday. You do not want to miss the rest of the season. Also, check out the RORSRPS Instagram at RORSRPS for all kinds of extra content, including early access to the week's racing bracket, bid party pictures, and more. And check out the all-new products over on the RORSRPS store. You can find that link down in the description. We got new stuff coming in every week. It could just help support the channel directly. But also check out the channel partner, Dubby Energy, for some clean, jitterless energy. And you can get 10% off using code RORSRPS anytime, anywhere, only at dubby.gg on the internet. They have some great flavors, including Dub Sludge on the top right, Galaxy Grenade down there on the bottom right, and of course Dragonade down there on the bottom left. They have some great flavors aside from that as well. They have around 10 energy flavors, and they have 2 caffeine-free hydration flavors. And they're all delicious. Give them a shot, guys. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's racing competition. I will see you guys in freestyle in just a minute.